Let's review from last time. We talked about that Israel is a land between the mighty empires of the ancient world, one down in the southwest being Egypt, and the other empires being up in the northeast, like Assyria, Babylon, Persia. And so these empires used to battle against each other in the ancient world. And as they would march their armies up to or down to conquer the other one, their opponents, they would have to go right through Israel. So Israel was right in between them. And so Israel sits at the intersection of three continents, of Europe, Asia, and Africa. So Israel serves as a land bridge between those three continents. So God put Israel in a very strategic place. We also saw that God was wanting to build the faith of his people. And he put them in this place called Israel for two main reasons, so that their faith would be built up. And the first reason was he wanted them to trust him for protection. When you live on the highway, you need protection, and Israel was right on that path between these superpowers. So they needed God's protection from these invading armies. And when they did obey the Lord, God did protect him. And when they disobeyed the Lord, especially disobeying the Mosaic covenant, they were overrun by their enemies. So they needed to depend on the Lord for protection. A second way that God was building the faith of his people was by providing their daily bread, provision. Israel is a land of limited rainfall, and compared to the river empires of Egypt and Mesopotamia, which had access to water pretty much year-round, if in Israel it didn't rain, that meant no crops. And no crops meant you didn't eat, famine. So they had to depend on the Lord for rain, for their daily bread, their daily sustenance. And we saw that the meager amount of rainfall that does occur in Israel isn't even throughout the country. Up around Mount Hermon, it's very abundant rainfall there, but things start to get drier as we go south. And then along the Mediterranean coast, there's a decent amount of rainfall, but as we move eastward, things begin to dry out. By the time you get to the Transjordan, it really has turned into desert by that point.